Okay, let's talk about some of the most iconic treats on the planet. I'm talking Nutella, Ferrero Rocher, Kinder, you know the ones. But the story behind them, it's not just about chocolate. It's this amazing saga of family, pure ingenuity, and a massive dynasty that was all built on, of all things, a simple hazelnut.
And really, that's the central question here, isn't it? How on earth does a devastating wartime shortage somehow become the secret ingredient for a multi-billion-dollar global empire? It sounds totally backward, almost impossible. But believe it or not, that's exactly what happened. So let's unpack this.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're going back to 1946. The place, a small town in Italy called Alba. The war has just ended, the country is trying to pick up the pieces, and this local pastry maker, a guy named Pietro Ferrero, has a massive problem on his hands.
And here was his big challenge. Cocoa, the absolute essential for any chocolate maker, was almost impossible to get and super expensive. But hazelnuts? The local region, Piedmont, was literally overflowing with them. They were everywhere, and they were cheap. And that huge imbalance, well, that's what sparked the big idea.
So Pietro's solution? It was just brilliant in how simple it was. He created this thing called pasta gianduja. Now picture this. It was a solid block made mostly from those cheap local hazelnuts, but with just enough of that precious, expensive cocoa to make it feel like a real treat. Families could literally slice it off and put it on bread, kind of like cheese. It was tasty for sure, but the key was it was affordable for everyone.
This really shows just how fast and how fragile the company's beginning was. In just 3 short years, Pietro comes up with the product. He tweaks it into a creamy spread called Super Crema, and then boom, tragedy strikes. He dies, just like that, completely suddenly. And the entire future of this little business lands squarely on the shoulders of his son, Michele, who's only 24 years old.
Okay, so now we're into the second generation. Michele Ferrero takes over. And he wasn't just interested in keeping his dad's local pastry shop going. No way. He had this massive vision to take the company global. And that whole vision, everything he did, was built on one single, rock-solid belief.
And this right here, this wasn't just some catchy business motto. It was the bedrock for everything that followed. From day one, Michele was fiercely protective of the family's independence. He just knew that if he was going to build something that would last for generations, he needed to have total control, no outside influence.
Now this is a stroke of pure genius. Think about the power of just one word. Michele knew that the name Super Crema just wasn't going to work for an international audience, so he rebranded it as Nutella. I mean, it's perfect, right? It's catchy, it sounds sweet, and anyone, anywhere in the world can say it. It was an absolute marketing masterstroke. And this really sums up Michele's whole philosophy. He was completely obsessed with quality. The recipe, he guarded it like it was a state secret. He rejected every single buyout offer that came his way. And because he owned the company outright, he could think in decades, not in quarters. He was playing the long game.
So, with Nutella becoming a staple on breakfast tables all over Europe, you'd think Michele might slow down. But nope, he didn't stop there. He used that incredible success as a launchpad to create an entire portfolio of what would become globally iconic brands.
And you can see the strategy just unfolding so clearly. First, you have Nutella. That was the foundation. Next up, Kinder chocolate, aimed squarely at a new generation, at kids. And then you get Ferrero Rocher, which was brilliantly positioned as this premium, but still affordable, gift for special occasions. Each one carved out its very own space in the market.
And the results? They were just staggering. Under Michele's leadership, this little Italian family business exploded into the third largest chocolate company in the entire world. Just look at this. They were going toe-to-toe with publicly traded Goliaths like Mars and Mondelez, all while staying 100% private. That is almost unheard of in business. So after Michele's passing in 2015, the torch was passed again, this time to the third generation, his son, Giovanni. And Giovanni, well, he had a very different idea about how to drive growth in the modern era. And Giovanni's first big move sent a huge signal about this new strategy. In 2018, he did something the family had never, ever done before. He made a massive acquisition, buying Nestlé's entire U.S. candy business for a cool $2.8 billion.
So all of a sudden, these classic American brands, they were now part of the Ferrero family. It was a huge shift. You see, his father and grandfather had focused almost entirely on creating new products from scratch, in-house. Giovanni?
He started to aggressively buy growth. Fast forward to today, and the result of all that work across 3 generations is a company valued at a staggering $35 billion. But here's the part that just blows my mind. After all that explosive growth, after all those huge acquisitions, it is still entirely owned and controlled by the Ferrero family.
So, the big question is, how did they pull this off? You know, most family businesses don't even make it to the 3rd generation, let alone thrive like this. Well, it all comes down to their unique secret sauce, their formula for success.
Yeah, this really breaks it down perfectly. Think of it like this. Each generation added a crucial new floor to their building without ever messing with the foundation. You had Pietro, the 1st generation. He was the innovator who came up with the core idea. Then Michele, the 2nd gen, he was the master brand builder who took it global. And now Giovanni, the 3rd gen, is the modernizer, the one making big strategic acquisitions to scale it even further.
So when you boil it all down, what's the one crucial takeaway? It's this. None of this could have happened without absolute family ownership. Being a private company, that was their superpower. It gave them the freedom to obsess over quality, to say no to bad deals, and most importantly, to think in terms of generations, not just the next financial quarter.
And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on, doesn't it? In today's world, which is so driven by shareholder demands and the pressure for short-term profits, could a public company ever build an empire like this? Could they ever replicate that patient, quality-obsessed, long-term journey of the Ferrero dynasty? It's definitely something to think about.